Hi, everyone. My name is Jet Garrison. My pronouns are he and they. And I'm here with the director and cast of the wonderful documentary, hopefully y'all just saw, called I Am the Other One. And very excited for this inaugural version of Outfest Digital Festival. And I would love to actually go around the screen so each one of y'all can introduce yourself, your pronouns, and your role in the film. And we'll start with you, Sylvia.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you to the festival for the invitation. We're really happy to be here. I'm Sylvia. I'm the director and scriptwriter of the film. And I would love to know what you think about it.
Definitely. And also we have two of our castmates here, and we have our translator, Adriana, Adriana, you want to kick off your role in our fabulous Zoom discussion?
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to translate whatever they feel comfortable in sharing, and Sylvia and Claudia will be directing your answers, but I'll be glad to share what Luca and Raul are talking about. So that's it.
Great.
I love the film. It's the second time I see it. I'm a big fan. Just want to say that.
Great.
That's good.
And Claudia?
Hi, I'm Claudia Santos. I'm the executive producer for Eu Outro in Portuguese, or I'm the other one in English.
And for all of us to know, Luca, Raul, are y'all understanding most of what we're saying in English? And then
yes.
Adriana is there, okay, to just help. Okay, that's what I was gathering.
I can understand all, and I can speak a little bit of English, but my English is not very good, so I chose to be translated. My name is Luca. I was one of the participants of the film, and I'm a transgender guy, and my pronouns are he and they.
So good to meet you. And I think your English is much better than my Portuguese. Oh.
I am Raul Capistrano, and I used to say that my English is better when I drink Kentucky whiskey, but it's not the case. But I am one of the guys in the movie, and this movie was a great experience, and I'm happy to share with everyone.
This film, Sylvia and Claudia and Luca and Raul, is so wonderful. It was such a wonderful character portrait. And I want to ask you, Sylvia, how did this film come about for you? What made you want to tell this specific story of these specific three guys?
Okay. I first saw a transgender man in the internet, and I was really fascinated by the way this person showed his transformation, his transition. He documented for a year, and I was completely shocked because for me it was amazing the way this person was in search of himself, and how brave he was being himself and showing to the world who he was. So this is the starting point for this film. I have nothing I don't have a friend, or now I have, but I didn't have a friend, a transgender friend at the time. So for me, it was all new. So I really wanted to know how it was to face society as a transgender man. So it's more or less the beginning of it.
Wow. So you really came to it with very little knowledge necessarily?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think sometimes when folks approach a subject that they don't know as much about, the result can be sometimes exploitive. And yeah. I do not think that is the case here, so I applaud you in that. So bravo. I would love to turn this to Luca or Raul. How did Sylvia first approach you about the project? Or Claudia, who did?
Raul, do you want to talk about it?
But in this case, I prefer talking português. So, foi muito delicado. Eu acho que o mais importante do filme, eu acho que em todo o processo, foi a delicadeza e a simpatia que as pessoas da produção entraram em contato e quiseram abordar esse assunto, né? Então, a gente estava num período em que a maioria das pessoas trans, pelo menos as que eu convivia, andavam desconfiadas com os pesquisadores, com o pessoal do meio acadêmico e com outras pessoas cis que queriam entrar em contato com a gente, porque no final eles absorviam a nossa experiência, iam construir os seus trabalhos e nos abandonavam de todas as formas, tanto em dar resposta quanto em deixar que a gente compartilhasse seus trabalhos com os nossos. Então, foi importante a maneira que eu fui abordado e eu entendi a partir dali a relevância do filme. Então, foi grande, digamos assim.
So for Raul, he considered the approach really carefully. It was really delicate from Sylvia, how the team approached him about this project. And mostly because people in the trans community, they are a little bit suspicious about these people who approach them, whether they are making a project or academic, because what usually happens is that they share their experiences and then they're abandoned in a lot of ways. So they don't know about the project, how it ended to be, or how their experience actually are relevant, you know, to other communities. So for him, it was really grateful to be a different situation in this case, about how the approach was really careful in that way and make him comfortable to share it.
And the same for you, Luca.
I will speak in Portuguese now because it's easier. Foi também muito legal da parte da produção, porque foi um contato, como o Raul disse, com muito cuidado, assim. Na época e até hoje, eu produzo vídeos para o YouTube. Eu tenho um canal no YouTube chamado Transdiário, que eu compartilho a minha vivência. E foi a partir desse canal que a Silvia me conheceu. Quer dizer, não, quem me conheceu foi a Cláudia e me apresentou para a Silvia. E aí a gente começou a trabalhar junto e foi muito massa. Todo o processo foi muito legal.
So in case of Luca, it was also, he agrees with Raul about how careful it was this approach. In this case, it was Claudia who got in touch with him because he had this internet channel called Trans Diary, and where he shares his experiences, you know, as a trans man, and how that shares his experience with the community. So Claudia got in touch with his channel, shared with Sylvia, and then they got in touch with him in order to do this project. And it was really, he said it was great. It was a great experience.
That's
just make an interjection, if I may. I used to follow, I used to be a fan of Luca and Transdiario, and that transformed me. And in that sense, that's why I invite him over from the other city that he lives, from São Paulo to Belo Horizonte. He flew here, and I wanted to see who that person was, if it would match the film we were making, and it was great. It was great.
Oh, thank you for saying that, because I was about to ask you about your role with Luca, and then also how you came to the project with Sylvia, and what this means for you as a producer.
Well, before I met him, I only had stereotype, and I dealt with stereotype all the time. But when you meet someone and you spend time with them, we change. I tried to open my arms. I tried to understand a different perspective, and that made me a much better person, a different person. And I hoped that transformation that I went through and that Silva also went through throughout 3 years, were able to translate into the film. Because not only Luca, Raul, Thales, we had a crew that was made of trans men, and they all transformed us. And I hope we were able to transfer that knowledge, that experience, that feeling to the film.
I love that you had not only folks in front of, but also behind the camera who were trans. I think that's very important in telling narratives, especially when you're somebody who is not a direct member of that community. So thank you for that. You know, we could talk for hours because I have so many questions. as a trans person, but also as a filmmaker. Sylvia, talk to us about your decision and how this came about to do part documentary, part performative, because the blend of the two was so seamless. I was questioning myself about what I was actually watching. Why was that important to you? And then that can roll into the two of them talking about what that was like to be themselves and also act as themselves.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was not a clear decision since the beginning, because for me, when I started the project, it was really difficult to understand what I was going to do with this film. I had no clue about it. But today, it's much more clear for me. And we used to say, it's a kind of internal comment, internal joke. We used to say that we made a trans film because we kind of play with the idea of gender fluidity within the film. But it's definitely documentary about love, actually. And it's a documentary because it's 100% based on their lives, and they play themselves. They're not exactly acting or faking anything. The only thing I knew at that time is that I didn't want to make a report or a formal documentary with interviews straight to the camera, because I didn't want them to tell the stories, their stories. I wanted them to show. I wanted to see them living real life. And I believe images are more powerful than words. So I made this kind of agreement with them to rebuild some situations of their lives in front of the camera. So sometimes people think it's a fiction film, but it's not. I mean, it has maybe the structure of a fiction film, but we didn't even have a script in the set. So I believe it looks like a fiction film because they gave themselves to the film in a very gentle way.
I'm going to throw Luca and Raul a little curveball here, okay? Luca, what did you learn about yourself in watching Raul's story?
Acho que a principal coisa que eu aprendi em toda essa história foi que existem narrativas que são muito diferentes da minha narrativa, né? São pessoas muito diferentes, com histórias muito diferentes, por mais que nós três sejamos homens trans. E o que eu aprendi mais sobre mim foi que talvez algumas feridas ainda não tivessem curadas, porque, como a Silvia falou muito bem, a gente refez algumas histórias da nossa vida. E em alguns momentos no set, eu fiquei muito comovido. Foi muito forte para mim. Então, acho que isso foram as principais coisas.
So for Luca, overall, it was an experience that made him understand that there's a lot of narratives that exist besides his own. So the project made him understand that, you know, being a film about 3 other trans men made him see how there exists other experiences, other narratives of this community. So that was really enriching for him. And personally, he learned about himself that he still had some scars that weren't that much healed. So on the set, he went through these moments that he was really moved while doing some scenes, and he understood that those were really emotional moments for him. So that's something that made him, you know, learn a lot from himself during that moment.
Same for you, Raul.
O mais interessante é saber que, na maioria das experiências trans, se não todas, há elementos que a gente vai identificar em todas as vivências. Se a gente não identifica eles no nosso presente, a gente já viveu no passado. Então, há muitas coisas em comum. mas o que diferencia também, e o filme mostra isso, é como questões como classe e raça fazem sobreposições que diferenciam as trajetórias e a maneira com que a gente encara esses obstáculos ao longo da nossa jornada.
So for Raul, it was an interesting process to see because, you know, the trans experience, somehow it brings a lot of similarities to everyone. Even if you're going through that process like in your past, or it's part of your future, present, or past, you know, these experiences as a trans man or trans experiences overall. But he says a really crucial thing, that there are important aspects, for instance, class, race, and that makes this experience come through a different stage, or you know, it brings or opens paths in a different way. So you can ignore that in that case, and that film shows these different paths that somehow people go through, depending on these factors and these aspects.
Yes, I thought for myself as a trans guy, just seeing the similarities was so powerful, you know, from what you have to go through with your paperwork, your identification, what you have to go through in exploring what surgery, if any, you want to have, love, relationships, family, the human experience. And let's please talk about the ending. Sylvia, Claudia, Luca. I mean, it's a heartbreak. Raul, I know you felt it too. You know, we leave in that moment, the wind knocked out of our sails, and also there is some hope that Luca is going to be okay, that we're all going to be okay. What was the thinking in that powerful ending? Sylvia.
Sorry, I'm just changing into mute and on the mic. Well, the end is really touching and powerful. But it's, I mean, as I said in the beginning, it's a film about love, and it's love is universal. Love is for everyone, and so we wanted to make the audience to connect to these guys through something they know, and for a moment to forget that they are trans, but they are human beings with feelings, and they could dive deeply into their emotion. Yeah, I mean, it's not a happy end, but it's an end full of hope, I think, because you see in the end of the story, you see these three guys fighting for themselves. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. No, and yes, go ahead.
We can make I Am the Other One Part 2, because now we have two single guys and one marriage.
Yeah, and I am the married now.
Now and me and Carlos, we are single now.
I actually was going to ask what would part 2 be about. So come on, Raul, give me the update.
These guys don't follow scripts. It's amazing.
Well, I was going to ask Luca if he was still on Tinder, but
yeah, no, I'm not on Tinder anymore, and I'm almost married now, so
congratulations.
Things changed a lot, yeah.
Yes. And Raul, you're teaching in your life. What are you excited about right now?
Só repete para mim, Adriana, para ver se eu não perdi.
Ele perguntou assim, do que você está empolgado hoje em dia? O Luca está casando, e você, como professor, como que está a empolgação para você?
Eu substituí o casamento entre pessoas pelo casamento pela universidade. Então eu tenho companhias, as minhas disciplinas manhã, tarde, noite, inclusive fim de semana. Mas eu estou muito feliz com isso, porque todo esse trabalho e toda essa produção que eu estou realizando está sendo em prol da minha comunidade. Então estou conseguindo pactuar o meu projeto de vida com a luta que eu acredito. Então é um momento muito feliz, sim.
So in case of Raul, he changed marriage between people to marriage to the academy, to the studies in school. And he's been doing research, and his classes are morning, afternoon, night, and weekends. So it is a marriage, but he feels happy and fulfilled because everything that he's been studying and learning is going to the community, and it's a work that he's been trying to share between his personal life and and the work with the community. So it's making him really happy. It's been a happy marriage so far.
That's great. And I don't know if Luca, you want to answer this, or Claudia, or to talk about what's going on in Brazil, in the state of the politics there. How are y'all handling things, and how is that affecting you?
Yeah, for us, it's very difficult now here. So Brazil is historically not a very good place to be a trans person, but now we have this very conservative government. So it's being even more difficult now. We are struggling with a lot of violent speeches and violence, like real violence, like physical violence. And so it's not a good scenario for us right now, but at the same time, we had some really important stepstones, I think. We have now some transgender people in politics, like here in São Paulo. We have 2 trans women on the Congress of São Paulo, So we have some really good things happening and really bad things happening at the same time. So it's very difficult to explain in a short sentence. Yes. What is going on in Brazil. Brazil is not for beginners, It's very difficult.
No, and there are levels of that same mirror in many countries. And I think finding community, finding true allies is very important. Does that word ally translate?
Yeah, aliados.
Okay. Yes. Claudia, to put you on the spot, because Sylvia answered this a bit. What is y'all's hope for people to leave the theater after seeing this film?
Well, what I saw is that it did transform me. It did transform Sylvia. And the hope is that, it's actually a film about love. If it's not the love that Raul had for his mother or for his ex-wife, or the same with Lucas and Paris, it's the love that the family had for them. So the linchpin of the story is that we all are the same. We all need to be loved. We all need to be respected. And I hope, and that's my question for you, did that come across well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And again, it touched me as someone who's also transgender. And it's so lovely to meet the makers behind this and know, that you were inclusive of these guys and that they did feel safe and protected. Because Luca and Raul, we need to feel safe and protected and be able to live our truth. Because sometimes people say we're brave, but we're just living.
Yeah.
We are just struggling. Yeah.
Yes. Luca, it was such a pleasure to meet you. Raul, it was such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your lives. I hope that the festival journey is going well for y'all and that you're meeting lots of fans and admirers. So Raul, once you're done with this marriage to the college, you can do the next chapter. And Luca, are you still doing your online social media stuff?
Yes. I have a YouTube channel and a Instagram profile that I share my life, and my friends' life as well. A lot of transgender folks from Brazil. So it's very interesting. The only problem is that it's not in English. So I'm sorry for that. It's in Portuguese.
It's okay. We can follow. Sylvia and Claudia, thank you so much for making this beautiful film. We always say in my community of queer and transgender filmmakers that visibility is key. The more people know us and see us, simply existing is only beneficial for each one of us, but also for the young transgender folks and parents and family members. We have to know that you know we are all out here. So thank you so much for making this wonderful film.
Thank you. Do you mind that I take a picture of us?
Do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jet. Thank you for having us here.
Yes. I wish we had more time. We're running out of time, but if there's any final thoughts you want to give.
Yeah, I just would like to I don't know if you're aware of it, but Brazil has the highest rate of murder of transgender people. So
sadly, yes.
We really hope that this and other films help to change this reality.
Yeah.
We belong to the L community in the LGBT, me and Claudia, so we are doing for us as well.
Thank you. And to what we were talking about before we started this, we're still trying to add more trans masculine and stories about trans men to the stories that are being told to our queer communities. So thank you for helping add to the conversation.
Thank you, all of us. Thank you from all of us to all of you.
Thanks so much to invite us to Outfest again.
Of course.
Thank you, Adriano. Thank you, Mike.
I wish I could hug you all.
Yeah,
yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Adriana.
Thank you, Jen.
Beijos.
See you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Mike.
Mike.